Have you seen In and Out yet? In and Out 2?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen In and Out 1?
Wait. Some of the movie?
Inside Out.
I
Yes.
was like, the burger
Listen,
spot?
Crystal done rubbed off on me.
I was like, wait, the burger
I got the crystal bug where I say everything
spot?
old.
Wrong.
Old. Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome to Giggles and Goals. I'm Leonie.
And I'm Crystal-Dior.
And today we're talking about self-sabotage.
Are you afraid of success?
That inner saboteur that tells you you can't do it.
Yeah. Or maybe you think you can do it, but you're afraid of what happens if you do it.
Yeah, you're just full of anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
Let's start with our
one-liners. Okay, so my inner saboteur may whisper doubts, but courage gives me the pen to write a new story.
That's good. Okay. So mine is, I'm self-aware and I'm a very, very human coach, but I can admit that I am afraid of failure now and I'm a little bit afraid of failure later. Where did I get that quote from? I don't know.
Yourself? That's your
Probably.
quote.
Maybe I made that up. That was good.
Wait, I want to read it. I am a self-aware and very human mindset coach who can admit that I'm not afraid of failure now. I'm afraid of failure later. So that means you get up and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, who said that?
Who said that? It's my turn this week.
Yeah.
So this week, this is the quote. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated.
Okay, what are my clues?
Yes, I always forget how this game works.
I'm supposed to know.
Okay, so she was a streetcar conductor.
Oh my God.
She was
What?
the first Black streetcar conductor.
You know good well I know the answer.
We got to start hard, medium, then
okay, give me more.
Okay? She was a civil rights activist.
Okay.
She was a poet.
Maya Angelou?
Yes.
Talking about streetcar. What?
I thought that was a fun fact.
I did not know that.
That was a fun fact.
That is really cool. I didn't know that. Honestly, I didn't know what she did before she was a poet. So.
Yeah. It was the fact that she was the first Black one. They need to talk more about that. What was that like? You know?
Yeah, she was a professional. Wow.
And she said she wanted to do that because she liked their outfits.
You know what? I make a lot of decisions that way.
Me too.
So.
Me too.
Like I wanted to be a flight attendant.
I wanted to play tennis because I wanted to wear
skirt. Oh yeah, you want to be fast. That's why you want to play tennis.
You know.
Okay, so let's jump to topic of the day. Our story time.
Yes. Okay.
So before we jump in, the quote that we put to kind of title this, I love this quote. You're not lazy, you just have fear of success.
Yes, you're in freeze mode.
Yeah.
Have you seen In and Out yet? In and Out 2?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen In and Out 1?
Wait. Some of the movie?
Inside Out. Yes.
I was like, the burger spot?
Crystal done rubbed off on me.
I was like, wait.
I got the crystal bug where I say everything
Wrong.
old.
Yes, I just saw the new one.
Okay, so
and I saw the last one too.
Yes, but when she got into that anxiety attack and then she froze. That's like you're in a freeze response because you're so afraid of all the other outcomes.
Yeah.
Along with the really outstanding ones, it's also the really frightening ones.
Yeah.
And those are the overthinking really get you to that freeze space.
No, it can. And you start thinking of the worst case and you just freak yourself out.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Actually, that movie is funny because I took my friend to see that movie. And I don't know why. I think people recommended it. And I'm like, let's just go see it. We both were in there like.
I'm surprised I didn't cry. I went there with full intentions of like bawling my eyes out, but I didn't, which is so interesting.
That movie is, although it's for children, it is for everybody.
And like it heals my inner child. Yes.
Like I wish I understood my emotions at a younger age. I feel like that movie would have done. Like it is really explained. I was like,
yes, so good.
Yeah,
I can't wait for them to come out with 3, 4, 5. Like they have like another Toy Story coming out. You know, there's
Toy Story makes me cry. Like number 3 had me crying.
Which one is that? The one where they were about to go into the incinerator?
Yes. Lord.
So I think it's like on the fifth one now, but I could definitely see Inside Out being that.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
I said
And
in
I was
and
sitting
out.
next to her. She's like, "Why did you bring me to this movie? We're supposed to come and have a good time." I
I'm
was
like
like,
everything has changed for me with that. The way I'm able to communicate my feelings has increased significantly since watching the second one in particular. The
mm,
first one was like, oh, this is cute, but the second one hit different.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we talk about tell the movie. If you haven't
Right. If
seen
you know,
it,
first of all, we'll put a
pause.
spoiler right before this, like
Right,
spoiler.
spoiler. When the anxiety emotion was
Mm-hmm.
having the imagination create all the worst case scenarios, when the
Mm-hmm.
imagination used to be where all the fun things were created, where all the dreams were created.
Mm-hmm.
That same workshop of where your imagination became
Right.
all the
Your
fears.
worst nightmares.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, man, if
And
that hasn't
oh,
happened,
I'm gonna start crying right now. I'm like, I don't think I've really unpacked it really
like
for real.
that,
So with joy, and you're really like joy is has to fight,
yeah,
and
literally fight
get
anxiety,
through
fight,
those other emotions. And Joy's always trying to keep itself present, but
yeah.
there's so many
And
things that can get
getting
in the way
pushed
with
back
it.
and getting
Yeah.
pushed back. Yeah,
hmm But
that's
it's
real.
good to process the emotion that you're feeling. Because one thing I did get from the first one, this is I don't even remember this. Oh well, it's like it's not even the topic, but it's
Right.
good.
Listen, it's working.
The in the first one when sadness wanted to show up, but she wouldn't let
Mm,
sadness show up, and it's like she was just wrecking everything. Like
yeah,
sadness was touching all the memories,
yeah,
and I don't know, I can't help myself type
yeah,
of thing. Where it's
yeah,
like you had to let her be sad
yeah.
because at that it's like Riley had went off and run away from home. I said, "Well, that's deep. I haven't seen this in a minute." I'm like, we're going all the way there because you have unprocessed
It went
emotions.
there.
That's really like a big leap in my mind, but for some people that's like that is their story because that you're not processing it.
Yeah. And the fact that they even brought in like her starting her cycle right
Mm.
before these new
That's
emotions
right.
came, right?
Yes,
That's when you go from
yes.
being a child to now you're a woman, right?
Or
And
you're
all
entering womanhood.
womanhood. So all these new
Mm-hmm.
emotions that you never seen before in
Had
your
before and you
life
don't know how to
are
process.
coming
It's
out
like, and
once.
it is feeling like at the age between 12 and 13, where it's like you're not even all the way into that yet. You're just
Kind of a
in the
kid, kind of,
workshop. It's under construction. So
yeah,
it's a hard like life transitions. That's another episode we need to do. It's just
yeah.
when you have those times with like you turn from 12 to 13, or you go from 17 to 18 or 18 to 25 or 25 to 35 and so
Mm-hmm.
on. It's like there are shifts that happen within you
Mm-hmm.
outside of just your physical but
Mm-hmm.
mental and emotional, all the way around.
New
Like they say,
fears.
they call it Saturn return
Yeah.
in astronomy, where you just have these times where you have a reckoning with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and that happens over and over
Yeah,
again.
you get new fears that you never thought about before, new
Mm-hmm.
worries you never thought about before, new whole bunch of new things. Every time you hit a new era of your life, these new emotions that you have never seen before in your life start peeping up and taking
Mm-hmm.
control. And it
Mm-hmm.
takes a minute for you to get them under control.
Right.
And it's normal.
And if you don't know what's going on to process it, you just feel like you're a cluster F full of
Yeah.
things because you can't parse through them. You can't organize your
Mm-hmm.
emotions. For
Yeah.
me, if I can know, like, I'm going to put you here and here and here, I'm able to visualize it because of the movie. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm going to get to you in a minute, grief.
Right.
But right now we're going to handle
This.
this panic or with this anxiety that I'm having about
Mm-hmm.
this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can start to process
Yeah.
each
No.
little one by one.
So if you haven't seen that movie, if you're a grown adult with no kids,
Please,
still go to that movie.
everybody,
Because me and
10
my
out of
friend
10,
went,
highly
yeah,
recommend.
my friend and I went and saw it, just the two of us, don't got no kids. And that movie wrecked
Me
us.
and my niece went to go see it. And we had a good time. It was because
No.
we needed it because that was right after my papa's
Mm,
funeral. And I'm like, we were supposed to go to the beach, but because that's also a great place to process is
mm-hmm,
in like nature for me and being, we're Cali girls. So being at the beach is so imperative, I think, to my mental health.
mm-hmm,
And then I'm like, well, I'm bump the beach. I bumped the beach living in Houston, living in Texas without a beach. I said,
mm-hmm.
let's not do the beach. Let's go do the movie because I knew how badly I needed that movie.
Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
It
So
was
go see
good.
it. They didn't pay us for this advertisement.
They
That was
did
free.
not, but we welcome partnership.
Right. Call us, Pixar. Call us.
Disney.
Um, But let's jump to the story time. Do you want to
Yes.
go ahead and read it?
Okay, so I don't know what this is. It's been a while. So I suffer from fear of success. There are many things I'm good at, but I have never taken any of them to a very high level, just to a proficient level, because I fear excelling at something. I don't know why. It's some internal anxiety I just don't understand. I've given up lots of opportunities because of this fear. Thing is, I want to succeed. I want to be great, but I always choose to remain at a lower level of proficiency than I am capable of. And I rationalize my decision based on wanting a comfortable life or some other bullshit.
What do I do? You know why? Whew, this one just hit me
Right.
because I've been here
Mm-hmm.
where I know I can do more, but I'm comfortable where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
This is safe. I know what's to the left and the right of me here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And going that next level, it does come with unexpected whatever. It comes with unknown whatever. It comes with the possibility of it not working.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're comfortable where you're at, it's sometimes hard to push yourself into doing something risky. So I
Mm-hmm.
get it. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Mm-hmm. For me, what I take from this, when I think of the fear of excelling, like I can imagine myself excelling at something, but it's I'm going to butcher this, but it's like, every every action has an equal or opposite reaction or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So if you strive for excellence, there's also a opportunity for disaster in the way my mind works.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if I imagine myself at this highest level of myself, I'm like, there's also the opportunity for it to be the flip side.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, those things battling each other, it's hard for me to, get to the point of like believing I'm going to
Yeah.
be that the successful option, the
Mm.
excel option is going to be my option,
Yeah. I think we were talking about this before. It's like to be a high level of success, you kind of have to be a little delusional.
Yeah,
A
the
little
little
delulu.
delulu.
I think we be cracking ourselves up. But you have to be a little delulu. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think my rational side keeps me from that next level of success because I'm so rational. Right. And I'll be like, but that's not realistic that you're going to achieve that.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be realistic.
Right, because
Right.
you don't want to go off and like sell the house. It's like let's
Right.
get a caravan and let's go do this.
Right.
Like we got kids, we got family,
Right. And so
we
I
have
think,
responsibilities. You got a house.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think a part of, but whenever you interview people who are crazy successful, they risked it all. And some of them lost it all before they.
Homelessness. I'm like, but I mean, and I get that. Me and Robert took that chance. You know what? We took that chance, and we've got the bumps and the bruises and our grapes crushed in that process. But I can't take that same risk now with a child. So I have to learn from the risk that I did take
Yeah.
and be able to do it more cautiously, which is I'm grateful for that. I get to have more chances. You know what I'm saying, to go forward and make our dreams and our plans for our family come true. But it's still like it's still hard.
Yeah.
It's still hard.
Making those decisions is hard because you don't want to, especially because my parents are baby boomers. They're very old.
Stop. First of all, let me put this.
They're very
Let's
old.
stop. We're gonna stop the old bashing.
They're very old.
You old bash. Stop it.
Okay.
Let them people be
My
mature.
parents, they're very mature. Okay.
Every time when I be going through these episodes and I'm picking clips, I'm like, should call somebody else old. Like every other episode, you call somebody old.
I'm getting there right on with them. But my parents are baby boomers.
Okay, listen.
And so them being baby boomers, the way they took risk were so different than what we do when we take risks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They were very get you a stable job at the city. Get you a pension. Stay at that job for 40 years and you retire. And then you go to church.
I mean, but I will say, though, they was able to buy a house. They still got money. They were able to retire.
Their money
like we're just in a different landscape because people don't want to pay you. Yeah. Like the rent and everything. Rent is too damn high.
Yeah.
Like stuff is like crazy and inflation is high, but you keep the paycheck.
Yeah.
Like inching along.
But they also weren't doing no mad crazy risk taking. It's not how they're programmed to take these big risks. And so I'm grateful that they instilled the stability, rationale part of me in me. But sometimes it's like I just want to be a little delusional. you know? Because sometimes I feel like I'm just a little delusional. It would be the difference between me making 75 and me making 150, right?
Mm.
Just that little bit of
Well, what
delusional.
stops you? So what now? 80 to 150 to me that doesn't sound like a big jump. That
Yeah.
sounds like you maybe an app like
I mean, it's a
applying
tax bracket
application
jump.
apply for things that you have no business applying to. That's what that sounds like to me,
Yeah.
and you'll get something that works for you.
Right.
And the jump from 80 to 150.
Yeah. But it's more of comfort versus being okay with maybe being uncomfortable to get what you want over here.
Okay.
Right. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
example, my job now, I love my job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very chill. Nobody's worried about what I'm doing all day. I get my job done. I complete whatever their goals are. I even exceed the goals. I was on the award thing all week.
Hey, okay.
Like, I exceed
Awards.
whatever they be posting. I exceed the rewards. I get my bonuses. I do what I'm supposed to do. The job. I could do this job halfway in my sleep. Okay. But my boss keeps mentioning this other position that's a level higher,
Mm-hmm.
but it requires a lot more of me, right? And
Okay.
I have no idea what it's really like over there. And
Mm-hmm.
so in my mind, I'm like, but I'm good here. You know what I mean? Like, I can do a little podcast. I can do it.
Right.
So it's like, do I stay where I'm at? That I'm comfortable here. I'm fine here. Or do I take the risk over here? You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
that comfort of like,
So I'm on the opposite end. I'm the risk taker. That's why I have to preface like I was in a space where I was really, really risky, but I have to be more calculated with my riskiness because
mm-hmm,
of motherhood.
mm-hmm,
But for me, I'm always like, take the thing. Cause it's like, if it doesn't work out, then you've tried, but
yeah,
don't just count yourself out. That's
yeah.
how I always looked at things.
I've always been like a calculator. I need to know the consequences.
But I'm also stressed. I was also a very stressed person. Still coming down a little bit on my stress. I'm like, was at 100. Now maybe at like a 60%.
Mm-hmm.
Still got ways to go. So
Yeah.
I do take on a lot of stress because I'm always trying to like reach. But
See, yeah, and I'm
yeah.
very like, I I don't like being stressed.
Yeah.
I'm already functional stress as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, the idea of adding work stress,
Yeah.
that makes me nervous, right? So I always be like, let me just find a job that I could do easy. I don't want to be the boss of nobody.
Right.
I don't want to manage nobody.
because you also are not looking at this job as this is my end all be all. You're
Right.
looking at it as like you have other dreams and aspirations as a entrepreneurial
Right.
spirited person. So with that in mind, it's like you don't want something that's going to hold you from your actual dream.
Right.
So
Right.
I understand that, and that's a choice, and I think it's a good choice, so especially if you have a career where you can still do all
Yeah.
have the freedom and do the things you like to do
Mm-hmm.
right now and build
Yeah.
your business slowly.
But I also get what she's saying here. Like, she's
Mm-hmm.
giving up opportunities because of fear, right? It's
Right.
like,
So this is
you know,
where I go to this research and this work I've been doing about self-sabotage.
mm-hmm,
And one thing I like with Inside Out, it helps me to visualize
mm-hmm,
what it looks like to have an inner saboteur.
mm-hmm,
And so I imagine your inner saboteur is a magnet
mm-hmm,
that keeps you tethered to self-doubt
mm-hmm,
and
worry,
keeps you tethered to low self-esteem.
mm-hmm,
And so for me, when I come up on something where it's like, if I put this effort in, if I block out this time to do whatever piece of task or work it is for
mm-hmm,
me to get to this next level, or
mm-hmm,
whatever it is, I find 1,000 other things to do
mm-hmm,
before that. I
mm-hmm,
have to be in this perfect mindset. I got to make sure the house is clean. I got to make sure this, and then something comes up over and over again because I feel something inside of me that's keeping me tethered to success,
yeah,
and or keep to lack of success.
mm-hmm,
And so for one thing I'm researching and I'm getting to know more about and practicing is imagining that magnet as like a gravitational pull from a planet,
mm-hmm,
and imagine trying to leave Earth and go into space.
mm-hmm,
To get out of Earth and you have to have a higher a lot of speed so you can get out of this gravitational pull.
mm-hmm,
I imagine when you feel that feeling of that magnet holding you into your fear of success, the low self esteem, like I can't do this, this is not working,
Mm-hmm.
or self doubt, all that stuff. The fuel to get out of that is to do the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
Encourage yourself, force yourself to do the work you know that you need to
Yeah.
do.
Be uncomfortable.
Exactly. Do it when the house is dirty. Do it when everything isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And do that repeatedly, 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 so you can get that fuel. And the more you add to it, the faster you can get out of that gravitational
Yeah.
pull. But you have to be super intentional.
Yeah.
It is rocket science.
And I think the biggest, there's this interviewer, I don't know her name, I'll find it later, but she was saying if you don't eat vegetables, you're not going to wake up craving vegetables because your body's not used to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you first start eating vegetables, it's going to feel like this is, I don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll rather something else. And
Right.
your
I
body
want
will
that
even
Popeye's chicken.
your body will even convince you that you're craving something else.
Mm-hmm.
Your body will be like, no, but you need some sugar right now.
Yeah.
And your body will convince you that's what your body's used to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she was saying the same thing when it comes to anything else in your life. So when it comes to success, when it comes to being disciplined, when it comes to finishing your goals or things that you promised yourself you would do for your business, if you're not used to doing those things, your habits aren't going to crave
Correct.
you doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to force it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to force it until your body starts to adjust.
Exactly.
Until your mind starts to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it comes to people you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
If you're surrounding yourself with people who are negative too, who talk about themselves negatively and don't think they can do anything, they're going to tell you that. That's not going to help you change your habits.
Exactly. That's feeding into that magnet that's keeping you tied to your self saboteur, your inner saboteur. But exactly, I think for me at least at some point, and maybe a lot of other people do and did as well, is you think that changing your habits is supposed to be natural.
Nope.
It's very, very difficult.
Uncomfortable.
It's like building muscle, trying to get a whole new body. If you're a bodybuilder or whatever, I'll go from this to being a bodybuilder. It's not gonna be tomorrow, and it's gonna hurt like hell. I'm gonna hate every minute of it. But when I get to those results and I have that outward appearance of my goals fulfilled, then it's something that you'll be excited about, and then you have a whole new regimen because all that work it took for you to get there and that dedication. You're not going to want to start over, and you're at a better starting point from the rest of your life.
Yeah, and now your body is starting to crave different things. If your body's used to different things, and I think you're right. I think sometimes we think, well, if I'm supposed to do it, it will come natural. I'm supposed to do it, it will just come to me. No, sometimes you have to go grab what you want.
Exactly. And then you got to grab it, you got to work on it, you got to fix it, you got to build it. It's like, it's not just reach up and grab it. It's not that. No. It's like you got to put that work in.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's easy to have imposter syndrome. Like, it's so easy. I know I get that way almost in every environment that I've professionally, in both my careers, corporate and mental health. Like, you always feel like everyone else knows everything in this room but me. But they're thinking the same thing.
So that's the part that's one of the self-sabotaging thoughts that I have, where it's like I'm making myself feel better by saying that people are struggling with the same things I'm struggling with. Like, it's kind of like trying not to pacify myself, but it's like, if it's true, it's true.
Yeah. And sometimes it is. It's funny. I had a moment, like a 360 moment. When I first started my current job, the first maybe 6 months, I was very confused about what the heck I was supposed to be doing. And I remember seeing other people on my team excelling, and they're on the leaderboard, and I was like, what the whole heck? I don't like being at the bottom. I don't want to be at the top, but I don't want to be at the bottom. I like being somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
That's usually what I like to be. I like to close right here in the middle.
Like top 40%.
Yes. Like, I don't want to be at the top. People are watching me.
Don't want to be 50-50, but I want to be at the bottom, above average.
And so I was that's what you do. I was so stressed. I'm like, I'm at the bottom of this leaderboard, and I didn't know what to do. And I'm like constantly messaging my coworkers, like, how are you doing this? Like, tell me how you're doing. And they're giving me vague little, generic answers. I'm like, oh my God. But now that I'm 2 and some months in, I'm at the top of the leaderboard.
Okay.
I'm like, and I'm doing it easily. I'm like, man, I remember feeling like an imposter in these team meetings. Like, are they sure they were the right person? I don't know what I'm doing. And I remember feeling that way. And then now that I'm 2.5 years in, I can do it in my sleep. There's one of those things to where I was comparing my day one to my coworkers 3 years in.
Right. And it's like that's the fuel I'm talking about where you were in practice. But
Mm-hmm.
imagine where maybe you could have gotten there faster or you could have maybe had a more smooth road if you didn't stress about it. If you
Yeah,
knew that if I stay focused and I stay
I would get
diligent,
there.
I would get there. It's like my friend was applying for a bunch of jobs. She's like transitioning from being a teacher to now wanting to go into another space as
Mm-hmm.
so many teachers are doing right now. And she's like applying everywhere and she's like not getting any calls and was down about it and was like, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'm going to go back to teaching and I hate that job. Like, I don't want to do that. And then a couple weeks later, she ends up getting a bunch of calls back. She has 3 interviews and she's
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the process of a couple of them. And just in that 2 weeks time, she was like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. I have a master's
Mm-hmm.
degree. Maybe my resume or I'm not killing it like I thought I was and da da da. And I'm like, all you had to do was just wait. You was down on
Be
yourself,
consistent.
all low. You could have been out there having a drink and that
Yeah.
week you were stressed because there was nothing to worry about.
Sometimes it's just consistency. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the one thing I tell because I've been in that place where I was applying for a million jobs and I wasn't getting anything. I'm like, I did
Mm-hmm.
everything I was supposed to do to get a job. Like,
Right.
and sometimes it's not about you being most qualified. Just be consistent and wait for the work that you've done to
Mm-hmm.
come to fruition. Because my other friend had the same experience. Like, she was all stressed, switching
Mm-hmm.
industries, and she was like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to start Uber driving, like being all extra. And then one day she got a call for the best job ever. And now she's working. And I'm like, remember
Mm-hmm.
when you were all stressed? Because I think we forget it takes stuff doesn't just happen.
It we do forget because it's like, but my thing is, okay, that was that time. What about this time? You know
Right.
what I
Right,
mean?
right. I
That was
mean, and
then, this is now.
sometimes there are all those moments where you just get something out the sky and you're like, it fell in my lap, but
Right.
those are rare moments.
Those
Like,
are, that's not going to be the rest of your life. Although that
no.
happened a lot to me in college and high school. And
Mm,
I'm like, I thought that was just life. And then I got out of college and I was like, what the
yes,
is going on?
yeah.
Okay.
And I think a big part of fear of success and fear of failure is you're afraid. I think fear of success is really framed around fear of failure. Like, what if I
Mm-hmm.
reach success
Right.
and then I lose it? What if
Yeah.
I get where I'm supposed to be and everyone's looking up to me
What if I
and
tell everybody I'm doing this and I like try real hard and I fall on my
you
face
lose
in
it?
front of
Yeah, and I think
everybody?
that's a big part of it. Because it's like, well, if I just
Mm-hmm.
stay mediocre, no one's worried about me failing, right? But if
Right.
I excel and then I fall,
Mm-hmm.
that's really scary.
Right. Like like Tyler Perry, for example, went out there doing those plays. Nobody knew his life story, but imagine if it was social media there and he's like telling everybody come do these plays, come see them, and they look like, oh, look at this man, he's homeless. Like,
Right, in
what
his
is he
car.
doing? He dressing up. Not what is he doing? So it's like if he knew more about his story, then I'm sure there were some people who are like, that boy, I don't know what he doing.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, like, it happens to all of us. Like, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
talked to one person ever who hasn't had some type of fear of failing
Mm-hmm.
or winning so big and then falling. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have a acquaintance who lost a lot of weight. She was a bigger girl. She lost a whole lot of weight. And before she got to that point where she wanted to lose weight, she was like, well, what if people are looking think I'm acting different? Like, all her thoughts of I built a community around the size that I'm in.
Oh,
You
right.
know?
And then
And they're
you
gonna
become an outsider from your
it's all
community.
these thoughts like that, the little anxiety in the imagination lab telling them, give me all the scenarios of how this can go wrong. It's the same thing. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
talk to people who want to finish college, but like, but then I don't want to people to think I think I'm what
Uppity.
your brain just jumps to that so quick. And I think a lot of it is other people's perceptions. We're worried about what people are going to think of us and what's
Right.
the world going to think if we.
And it also develops a fear of trying. Like
Mm-hmm.
because of all these things, you just don't even want to try.
Yeah.
Um, so with that, my thing is I'll try a lot of things. I look foolish a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm at this point where I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting past my fear of rejection. I'm already past my fear of looking stupid. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think when I think about the moments where I've overcome it, because there have been moments where I've overcome it. The one
Mm-hmm.
thing I can say is when I decide I really want to do something, I make it happen.
Yeah.
But sometimes I struggle with the things I decide I want to do. Right, that's where that decision. Like,
Yeah.
if it's something like low, something low risk in my mind, I'm gonna make that happen.
I tried. So Yes, I'll bring it up now, but I feel like I'm going to talk about it in another episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's called, when you say you're trying to finding focus, like you have too many interests type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So there's this thing called ikigai.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Japanese concept about finding your purpose, or you're
Mm-hmm.
figuring out your life's worth.
Mm-hmm.
For especially, and it works especially for people who have multiple interests,
Mm-hmm.
because there's this exercise that you do, and you're able to see it. There's a lot of weird questions that you don't think are related, but
Mm-hmm.
when you start to highlight the things that are grouped that you
Mm-hmm.
can group, then you start to see what something more starts to stand out more than the others.
Yeah.
And then you start to feel like, okay, this is an interest you could focus on.
Yeah.
And then you could set that for a period of time until you feel accomplished in that area, and then move on to another interest.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps to keep you focused, because if you work on too many interests at one time, then you're not going to get
Yeah.
anywhere with either one of them.
Yeah. And I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we don't, I know for me, figuring out, like, I know one thing I know, helping people through their journeys is just that's a part of my
Yeah.
calling, it's a part of my
I
purpose.
like that too.
And it's just, even when I don't try to do it, it's what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll be surprised the phone calls I get. You know what I mean? Like, people just call me, I'm just like, Lord, why?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'm like, well, what does that look like when it comes to paying these bills, Jesus? Like, like, how am I going to pay my bills?
I sent you a meme. I think I sent you a meme. It was like I God keeps sending me lessons when I specifically asked for money.
Yeah.
I specifically asked for money, and why do you keep sending me lessons?
Lord. And I'm just like, Lord, how?
That's
So one thing I have
hilarious.
to remind myself, like we were talking about with the consistency, is maybe right now me doing this in my brain, it doesn't fit. Like you're saying with the questions. Maybe for me doing this job right now, what does this have to do with what I know I'm called to do one day? But I think sometimes there's a bigger picture that we're not quite seeing, and I need whatever skills I'm going to get here to do that, but I have to remain consistent. And sometimes I think when we're trying to be successful, we're fearing successful, we jump off the ship too quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We jump off before we get what we're supposed to get.
Listen, well, I was listening, so I watch a lot of YouTube stuff, and there's a specific channel. I forgot what it's called. I want to say Big Think, but I think that's a completely different channel. But they interview entrepreneurs who have, like, had experienced some type of success, and they talk about the times where they've been stripped down and they had to keep going.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing this right, there's going to be a time where you get stripped, where you get blown to smithereens, and then you got to come back. And that could be at multiple levels. It doesn't have to be like you lose everything and get homeless, but there will be times where something that you worked for will implode.
Yeah.
And but that is part of growing and learning from that. And moving on is the thing that builds that resilience, straightens up your back to say, I could do it again. You end up doing it again. When you're like, that's too much, I can't do it again. That was too hard. I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
You do it again and you realize, okay, it gets easier and easier.
Yeah. Even when I think about like our podcast, like Leonie and I both had, like, July kind of sucked. You know, July was not.
It was. And it was like my spirit just felt crushed.
Yeah. July was rough. Like, we both had losses in our family and close circles. And it was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And then we were both required to be strong for other people. It was just a lot going on. And the last thing we felt like doing was coming on here and giggling with y'all.
Exactly. Right. You know was not in a giggling mood.
Was not in a giggling mood. And it's funny because although it's one of those things where you have to push through the self-sabotage, push through the fear. Because of course my mind is like, well, maybe we should stop. But then I was like, but no, I know we got to push through, because I have a feeling that if we push through and we're consistent, we'll be happy we pushed through and we're consistent.
We will. And hits will keep coming. So I got something to tell you I didn't tell you.
Oh, Lord.
I won't tell you now. I'll tell you when we turn the cameras off.
Oh, y'all. She trying to quit me, y'all.
I'm not trying to quit, but the devil is busy. Let me tell you.
He is stay busy. Now, that's a man who overworks. That man be getting OT. He be getting,
like, sit your ass down. Like, devil, sit your ass down. Come on now.
Like, can we get this man fired? But no, but that's fear, success, fear, fair. Because I was watching this podcast, this girl talking about she don't bathe, and she don't bathe pretty much, and she just got a deal for a $14 million podcast. I'm like, how this girl
on what?
I don't know. She taught her
wilderness.
No, she talks about some name, something about bad daddy. I don't know. Okay,
Bad daddy.
it's some weird podcast, and I know
I
that
don't know how these two things correlate. What does the no back bathing have to do
her
with getting a
podcast.
podcast deal?
I don't
Why is
know,
that a fact that we know?
but the clip I saw, she'll talk about she don't bathe proper. Okay, and she'll talk about the beginning of her childhood. She maybe bathed once every 2 weeks, and that's how her
Well,
parents.
she's alive.
She is, and she's got a $14 million deal on her podcast.
Her
I was
microbiome is probably lit though. People who let dirt just accumulate, they probably have good immune systems.
nasty, nasty. They probably got a lot of other things going on in
I'd
their body
rather,
too.
right? I know. It's like I feel like you trade one thing for another. You cannot bathe, but there has to be something that comes with that that's not
Nasty.
healthy.
But I was watching her get this deal, and I'm like, how she get a deal? We don't got no deal, you know. But I'm like, you know what? No,
You don't know people's past.
I'm
One thing I
right.
realized when
You
people
don't
people
know.
who got a fast track, there's probably a family member or so, there's some nepotism probably going on.
Probably.
So
I'm
let's
gonna work on getting. We're gonna get some
maybe
nepotism
we'll
from
get some
Maverick.
nepotism.
Maverick gonna have some
Let's
nepotism.
work on some nepotism. Check.
But yeah, but you have to not compare and not let those things stop you from continuing, stopping you from being consistent. Queer, no, she might have started her podcast 5 years ago and no one saw it for the first three.
Or
No idea.
exactly. Or she probably had multiple other media things that she's done, and then she learned from those, got her grapes crushed, came back and said, I know how to do this now."
Yeah.
So that could be the case. Who knows?
Who knows?
We are on our own path.
But yeah.
And what is set aside for us is for us.
Yeah, and comparison will be the thing that really stops you from being successful. Like when you're looking to the left and the right and looking behind you so much, it's hard for you to look at what you have in front of you.
It fuels self-doubt.
It messes with you. Like it really. I love social media, but sometimes it's like, man, I'm happy I didn't have it as a child.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I don't know what I would do. Yeah.
Because that's literally a pot of comparison. Like it's literally a big old. Every time you go on there, you're seeing, oh, this couple looks happier. This couple, this girl.
Well, that's why I stay off Instagram. I be on TikTok though, because TikTok is like, if it don't show you everybody.
It's true.
It's like it shows
you can click through quick.
Exactly, you can click through quick. Everybody looks regular for the most part.
That's true.
It's Instagram is like, I don't be doing Instagram.
No, because they will have you like self-sabotaging.
Right.
You know,
it's like
you're comparing.
Yeah, it's less of that with TikTok, although it has its own devices.
It does, but either way, I think the biggest thing is shifting your mindset and how you view success, how you view what you're looking to do with yourself, and are you, be honest with yourself, are you ready to make the changes that you need to get where you want to go?
Yes, definitely. So I'm going to go just make sure we covered everything in this letter. I meant to highlight some things just in case.
I think it's also important, your support system. I think surrounding yourself with people who think positive and who believe in you. Because if you're around people who don't believe you can do anything, then they're not gonna help you do anything. And when you come to them with your hard days, they're gonna fuel it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, should I take this new job? No, girl, just stay where you are. You know what I mean? They're gonna. So you have to make sure you're surrounding yourself with big thinkers and people who dream big and do big things and take risks. Because if people are safe, they're gonna encourage you to be safe.
And in the case of the person whose story time this is, you need to get yourself around some action Jacksons. People who are doers. Because if you're in your space and you're feeling like this and there's nobody there to motivate you that's going towards a goal of some kind, whatever it is, doesn't have to be business, doesn't have to be anything like huge. It could be like, I'm starting a garden, or I'm going to go and walk every day, but they're getting up and doing that. So get into those type of communities.
Yeah, be mindful of your words, how you speak to yourself, how you speak about yourself, what you put into yourself, because I think what we put in is a big part of what we push out. You know what I mean? So if you're not having affirmations like you could do that, like it feels dumb, but it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you look at yourself instead of picking at yourself why you're not successful, talk about the things that are great about who you are. And I promise you, it will, over time, help you feel more powerful.
Right.
Help you feel like you can achieve it. Like, you know what I mean? If you feel like you're lacking a skill, go find the skill. Like, there's nothing out here that isn't attainable that you can't figure out. There's free books, free YouTube, free whatever it is. So if it's more of a deficit, you feel insecure, you don't feel accomplished enough, don't compare, and then figure out what you can do to make yourself feel better.
Yeah. And one thing that's important to note is this is going to happen again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that gravitational pull or that magnetic, your inner saboteur is a magnet that keeps you tethered to low self-esteem and self-doubt. When you know how they say new levels, new devils?
Mm-hmm.
As you grow and you feel like you've escaped that gravitational pull of those words and the things that you were saying that were causing you to stay at your lowest self, when
Mm-hmm.
you get to your higher self, there's always going to be opportunities to level up. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to come into new spaces, in new rooms, meet new people, get new opportunities where these thoughts will, this whole process, everything we talk about on this podcast will start over again.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if you were going to another planet and you're going to get pulled into that gravitational pull,
Mm-hmm.
remember these things so you can get out of that when you get into those spaces.
Yeah. No, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, we want to encourage you that you can do it.
Yes.
You're amazing. You're strong. You're powerful. And as long as you decide you want to do it, you're consistent, you can make whatever dreams you want.
You is kind.
Yeah.
And you is important.
You is pretty.
And you is important.
If you don't know that reference, you lose your black card. But let's jump to things we wish we knew.
Okay. So pressing harder isn't enough, but thoughtful and consistent action slowly breaks the inner saboteur cycle.
Yeah, that's good. I wish I knew all of this before I started my freshman year in college.
Okay, like
I would be at the Ivy League right now, being at the.
We say that now, but I was too hot to try. I'm like, I wasn't listening for real. I was like, listen, Hollywood is 15 minutes away. We out. That's what I was thinking my freshman year.
I feel like if I was really thinking about my future like that, I feel like college for me at the time, I thought it was just my way away from my parents. So I wasn't worried about nobody's lessons. I was doing whatever homework can get me to pass. If I could go back and really pay attention,
okay,
and really learn.
But I gotta have the maturity that I have now to be able to sit and do the things. Because that school was so easy back then, but I struggled. I struggled.
But I didn't. When I say I didn't study. Okay, I don't know.
I did study. I would be like, I did not go out as much as my peers, and we had different peers because you didn't go out at all.
I didn't go out at all. I didn't go nowhere. I went to Bible study. And I still didn't study.
I was at Bible study. Well, I missed a lot of Bible studies, but I was on Sunday, but I was also in Hollywood. Okay.
I was nowhere, but I still didn't study. I don't know what I was doing.
But then I would be like, okay, instead of some people go out every weekend, I would go out maybe one weekend, maybe 2 weekends that month. But I would be studying, but I just didn't have good study tactics. And I was also a procrastinator. So that's really the bigger issue. Yeah.
Well, if I could do all the things over, I would, one, take full advantage of the opportunity I was given to be educated. One.
Exactly.
Two, I would have procrastinated. I would have been more consistent. I would have believed that I could do more. I think I wasn't even worried about doing more. I was just like,
I think would have been a better mindset for me to have is knowing that if just because I try once don't mean it's just going to click like that.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have those disciplinary tools growing up in like high school and stuff like that, it's just not going to appear now that I'm in college. But I needed to have been practicing that. If I just found out, if you're somebody who are just finding out that tiny steps get you where you want to go instead of big giant leaps, and this is your freshman year, start that today. And by the time you get to your sophomore, maybe even your senior year, it will apply, but it'll be useful for when you get out of college. Yeah. So nothing will be wasted.
Yeah, that's good. But I also want to encourage you guys to subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe, follow us, comment, tell a friend. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know what you like and don't like. And, we encourage you to chat with us.
All right.
We love you.
Bye.